What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the most profitable miner on the planet. That's right, the most profitable miner, and it's pretty insane. It has been the most profitable miner for a couple months now, and people have been doing some insane things because of it. Let's take a look at what it is. All right, so the miner in question today is none other than Bitmain Z15 Pro and Z15. Now, I also kind of want to talk about the AE3 we'll look at here in a minute, but first it has been these two miners that has been pretty dominant over the past month or two here. This one has been bouncing back and forth between the AE3 because the price is coming down, but people have been FOMOing like crazy here. So let's kind of jump into the price history of Zcash. If we look back at all, we can see at one point in time the all-time high was about $5,941. Then it went down to pretty much zero. Just kidding, it's $50. But from almost $6,000, $50 doesn't seem like much. So coming into where we are right now, Zcash began pumping around the end of September here. We can see 9-month 22, we're at $48. And then from there, it's been doing what it's doing. Seeing as high as up to $730 or so. And at one point in time, about 3 days ago, this was actually making, we could see here on the 7th day, so today is the 10th, so 3 days ago we were seeing about $75 a day that the Z15 Pro was making, which was pretty insane. Now, before we do go any further and looking at the FOMO aspect of all this, a quick word from today's sponsor. Are you looking for ASIC miners but just not sure who to trust? From most popular brands to best sellers to miners of the week and even deals of the moment, ASIC Mining Central has you covered to the cheapest prices out of any ASIC website, as well as import fees will be low with low tax with DDP or invoice, and code RABID will grant you an additional $50 off your order. Head on over to ASIC Mining Central today for all your ASIC mining needs. Links down in the description. Now back to our regular scheduled program. All right, guys. So now let's talk about the whole FOMO aspect about this. So with great profitability comes the weirdest, greediest mindset. So for months, even years, people have been talking about how bad they will never buy an ASIC, waste the money, it sucks. And like 4 months plus ago, you could buy these Z15s and Z15 Pros for like 50 to 200 bucks, like very, very cheap because they weren't profitable. That's right. These things were negative for years at this point in time. And, you know, some people were buying them because they were extremely cheap, because sometimes that's a good strategy to do. Now that things are profitable, everyone's saying they wouldn't buy any type of ASIC miners, all of a sudden started buying all these miners, and they weren't $50 or $200 anymore. They actually went up to $3,000 to $4,000, with some purchases as high as $9,000 for one of these miners. The FOMO is strong and it is crazy, and people still don't seem to realize how altcoin season works. There's a good chance that this whole Zcash pump is coming to an end. Like I always said this in the past, when it comes to coins, you know, an altcoin, it'll pump for 2 weeks to 2 months, and at that point it is over. And we can see we've been pumping for almost 2 months at this point, you know, a month and a half or something. So it could be coming to an end. We're also pretty much at prime bull cycle time, so the bear market's right around the corner. So many factors are showing that this is not going to last, and that you're never going to ROI a miner, especially paying extreme prices when these coins pump. This even prompted Bitmain, who hasn't made this miner for a few years, to actually make another batch, and it's stated to release in sometime of April or so of next year. So I just want to find that right quick. Now, before we go any further, I just flipped it to Twitter, and this is some of the crap that you will see when coins pump, and you got to ignore all of this BS because it's really going to get you, and it's really going to make your FOMO even stronger. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. It's all entertainment purposes. Do your own research as well as make your own decisions. But like here we have this guy now saying, Can Zcash reach $126,000 and break Bitcoin all-time high this year? When things start pumping and FOMO's kicking in and people need liquidity and all sorts of things, the lies you will see is absolutely insane. There's no chance that this is going to happen. Like, why do people pull out the dumbest numbers in history? And people fall for these things and they start buying it, and then they start buying more miners, and it's a ripple effect, guys. Just be careful. Altcoin season is coming to an end for Zcash. Who knows how much farther it's going to go? It's already made people eyeballs open. It's been doing crazy things, but keep in mind, it's most likely that top is pretty much there. So this guy, yeah, nothing. Be very careful from posts and stuff that you see out in the wild at this point, because people are going to keep saying it's going to go higher, and the only direction it's going to go is down. All right, guys, so here it is. As Dash is also kind of pumping as well, we can see Layla here, new Antminer D9 and Z15 Pro batches from Bitmain. So they know that these coins aren't really good coins. They know that Zcash, for example, is going to be moving to a hybrid proof of stake system in the future, and then eventually a full proof of stake system, which means you can no longer mine it. So they're not making new miners, they're just making more batches of old miners. And here we can see the futures price and stuff. This isn't shipping till April 2026. There's a good possibility here that by this time, April of 2026, Zcash will be back down to wherever it was. $200, $250, $100. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe $40, I think, is when this pump started. So it could be right back to pre-pump levels by the time this starts shipping. So pre-ordering any of these miners, letting the FOMO get to you, again, is a bad idea. But again, do your own research, guys. I'm not trying to urge you. If you want to do this, then go ahead and do it. If you want to buy these miners, check them links down in the description for these miners. But I'm just saying, be very careful on your choices, guys. All right, guys, so now let's take a look at the AE3. Unlike Zcash, which we've seen it pump up quite a bit and gain that profitability from no profitability, we have the newer miners for the newer coins coming in, and this is where a lot of people are like, I'm not buying it, network hash rate's going to increase, all this stuff. Well, yeah, but the thing is, people aren't buying them, so the network hash rate isn't increasing, and the profitability, ever since this thing has been announced, has remained about the same. We take a look at the all of a Leo. We're not seeing any pumps happening here. The past 1 year, it's been pretty flatline. Past 1 month, sure, we got some up and downs with the current state of the market right now. Here's the past week, but nothing major has been happening on a Leo at all. Now, we still have Bitmain is set to make a miner for this, and as we know, when Bitmain usually makes a miner, the coin pumps. So the only direction we could really see this go is possibly up, but obviously we could still see some downage, but this has been going down ever since it pretty much got listed at CoinMarketCap. As we can see here, here's where it went up, and then it's just been downhill ever since. So yes, there's always possibility of even more down, but we have a potential here. But the biggest thing here is, who cares about the future when the current profitability is pretty much at the top of the list? These are going to keep dropping. As mentioned, these two keep bouncing and switching places all the time here, as well as this guy right here, the big hydro Bitcoin miner. But for the point here is, as Zcash starts to dip, these are going to be starting to drop in price. These are going to be, profitability is going to go back down to zero eventually, and this thing is going to take the top spot. And it's been in the top spot for a while before these even started pumping for Zcash here. So, and nobody was buying them. So I just want to bring to light here, guys, that this is probably going to be the next top miner in existence once Zcash drops. And it's going to maintain that because, again, people aren't buying it. Some people have been purchasing these and they have not seen any profitability drops. But meanwhile, if a whole bunch of people buy them, then obviously you're going to see that drop. But a Leo has not seen that big hash rate spike because people are kind of scared right now, and they don't want to dive into these newer coins that have these ASICs because of what happened with, obviously, Kaspa, Lithium. We had, what was the latest one? The XT box with Tari, how the profits dropped so much, but we're not seeing that happen here. So this is a very interesting thing to keep an eye on. And I know I'm definitely eyeballing this, but we'll see what happens in the future, because these are no longer going to be the top miners for much longer. hopefully you guys kind of understand that. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the whole situation down in the comment section. Have you been one of the people where the FOMO has been strong? Have you been debating on looking for these, or have you been looking but haven't, purchased? Or maybe you're on the fence and you've seen this video and you're like, okay, maybe Rabid's onto something here. I'm not getting that. That is the dumbest thing I could possibly do, type of thing. So remember, if you have these miners and you bought them for $50 to $200, it might be a good idea to try to sell them. You don't try to get 3,000 or 4,000 like other people. Maybe try to sell it for 1,500, 2,000. You still times 3 or 4. If you got it for $200, you're still ROIing it and making quite a bit fairly easy on that, on top of that, and things like that. Anyway, so let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section. I will see you on the next one. Share this video around, help people understand what's going on with this ASIC world, as well as hit that subscribe button. I'll see ya. Rabid out.